Shai, not necessarily to compare, but it seemed like their defensive rotations and closeouts and helper stuff, Milwaukee's was some of the best anybody's played against you guys all season. What did you make of just the effort level and sort of those second, third efforts that they were making tonight?
Yeah, they were firing on all cylinders. Hats off to them. They have a lot of guys over there have won big in this league and know what it takes. And we had a chance tonight to see where we stack up against that. Obviously didn't go our way and how we wanted to perform, but a lot of lessons learned, and that's what you want from opportunities like that.
Yeah, that's kind of what Mark was saying after the game, that like long run, I mean, this season, this doesn't define a season at all. Like there's a lot to learn from this game as you move forward on this one. Like how valuable do you view this experience in conjunction with the 8 out of 10 that you just won?
You always can learn more from a game like this. Two things: because of the type of opponent, and then unfortunately how we performed. There's reasons as to why we lost like that. You don't just walk into a game and lose like that. But it'll be good for us to learn from and move forward.
Shai, what did you see from Josh tonight, and just kind of the pace that he was playing with throughout the game?
Yeah, he was really good, aggressive. Josh has sacrificed a ton this year. Like he's a natural one, and ball's kind of been taken out of his hands for the greater good of the team. And hats off to him. He's figuring out kind of how to play another style, and I couldn't imagine doing this. So hats off to him for sure. He's playing well, and he's figuring it out.
So all things considered, you guys were well in that game at half. I mean, neither team was shooting too well, but that game was in your grasp. Just what happened to start that first half and the third?
They obviously have a size advantage, but they were more physical. And then when you have a disadvantage and you allow the team to be more physical, it gets ugly quick, and I think that's what happened. We didn't impose our style or our will on the game in enough time to kind of slow down their runs.
And, I mean, we talk about the way they rotated the helper stuff. Teams have done that. There have been teams that have, maybe done that to that caliber against you guys this season. That hasn't really kept you from doing what you do, being in the paint, driving constantly like that. None of that stuff has really kept you from being you. I guess, what do you see them do that maybe limited some of the stuff you wanted to do, some of the lifts you might have wanted on a regular night?
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah, they were really good, really focused on their game plan. Set multiple bodies. I've seen multiple bodies all year, like you said. I think I also just had a bad night, just one of those nights. But credit to them, they did their homework. They came ready and they executed a game plan.
It seemed like their closeout rotation, helper, contest, and Milwaukee's was really good tonight. What did you notice on that end of the floor about just how tight they were?
Yeah, they did a good job of rotating for each other and making us work on offense. I think we still got a lot of good shots. We had a stretch where they were scoring and we were getting good looks and just didn't hit shots. It's basketball. I don't think we've been playing particularly well over this little stretch too, so I think this loss was kind of good for us just to see, when you play a really good team, kind of see exactly where we're at. Things aren't as bad or as good as they seem in the moment, but I think this is just good for us to kind of see where we're at and kind of go from there.
Yeah, before the game, Mark was kind of making the distinction that he's made with you guys a bunch about the difference between size and physicality, and it seemed like in that third quarter maybe they got to the physicality stuff more than you guys did. Is that how it felt out there?
Yeah, a little bit. I think that run was just big for them. I think they started kind of attacking the size thing and just being more physical. So I think for us it was just took a little while too long for us to navigate how to kind of match up with them. Obviously, we haven't played them all year, so I think that was kind of it.
You mentioned this being a game that you could look back on, learn from long term. But when we mentioned physicality, a lot of that obviously is Giannis setting the tone. That's a guy who's probably one-on-one in this league in terms of that. Just how much weight can you actually put into the results from just knowing that that's a guy that postseason you probably wouldn't play till way down the line, and you only play him twice a year. So.
Yeah, I think, like you said, he's kind of like a one-on-one kind of player. I think Brooke hurt us today too, right? That's the twin?
Yeah.
I always mix them up. Yeah. I think he hurt us down the stretch, just physicality kind of getting out ahead of us and, sealing, I think, Bobby, another one. But I think just them three in tandem, put a lot of pressure on the rim. And then, I think once you add kind of Giannis into that equation too, he's kind of their engine that makes them run. So, they have a good setup at trying to get to the rim with a lot of teams, and they were successful tonight.
Yeah, and defensively, obviously, because they have so much size, you guys obviously try to cross match and just do different things, just in the slip ups, whether that was maybe Giannis getting something back door, or just whatever, a guy getting an open three after you guys are trying to scramble. Like, where did you see the slip ups materialize?
I don't think we had a lot of defensive lapses. I think a lot of it was rebounding. I thought we did a good job getting them to shoot some out of character shots or just tough ones in general, and then I think they just came up with more loose balls, and that's the stuff that puts us in rotation, and that's where they get open threes and stuff like that. That's where Giannis gets a lot of his points tonight. Just around the rim, kind of cleaning up the glass. So I think once you kind of factor in that, and then now they're comfortable offense and moving through that, I think that's when it poses a lot more problems for us to rotate. And like I said, we played them. It's our first time playing them, and this is probably like game 70 almost. So I think just going from there, we understand this is kind of the first team that we've seen where they play a really big lineup like that. So probably aside from the Lakers. So we'll just be able to adjust from there and just try to throw different things out there.
Can you use this as a motivating moment to get ready for another playoff team in New Orleans?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think we're going to harp too much on the loss. I think it just kind of takes some of the fundamental stuff from them and just be able to turn the page. I'll probably have the same answer if we won this game. But yeah, I think every game going forward, we're treating like a playoff game in general. Just kind of being able to flip the page and do that. So just looking forward to playing New Orleans now.
Mark, it seemed like you guys really tried to get the ball movement going, but it seems like their defensive rotations, contests, helping the helper stuff was really good tonight. What did you notice about the activity of Milwaukee's defense?
I thought they did a great job. I thought they were sharp defensively. As you said, the rotations were really tight. They contested shots. They forced us to be a jump shooting team, protected the paint against us. We obviously didn't have a great shooting night, but credit them. They were clearly the better team today.
You made the distinction between strength and physicality before the game. Did you feel like that edged more to them having a physicality advantage in the second half, particularly that third quarter?
Yeah, I thought they were definitely the more physical team in the third especially. And that would have, offensively, we didn't get off to a great start. I thought we, made some nice plays, tried to get some good looks. But when you're not shooting it well, you got to use your defense and physicality and rebounding to try to stabilize it. And obviously, we didn't do a good enough job of that.
Particularly early in that third quarter, the 2 points. Okay. Excuse me, Mike. 2 points the first 6 minutes of the third quarter. What did they do specifically during that section of the third quarter coming out of the second half that really bothered you?
Well, we didn't get anything easy, and then we had to rely on jump shots. We got a couple good ones. We had a couple good possessions that we didn't make, but when you don't get an easy source of offense like that and then you don't shoot it well, that can happen. And then we just weren't able to temper them down the other end of the floor.
Or just any update on Lou and that situation?
I think he's fine. I think he's going to be fine.
Okay. And, Gallo mentioned just before the game that you made a distinction between strength and physicality. And I know Chet didn't start on Giannis like that. Dub started on Giannis. I think, Chet had to face Giannis, on drives, maybe in that third quarter. He can guard him some on post-ups. Generally, that gap. How do you, in a matchup like this, I know everybody isn't Giannis, but, do you still have to close that gap some? Is there a necessity to have some strength for a guy like Chet, maybe not just in a matchup like this, but long term?
Yeah, I think, we had Dub on him for much of the night, and he's handled matchups like that well before. We did switch him, so we ended up in situations where different guys are on him, but then our plan was to double him. And we just got to, if we have any sort of, physical mismatch, we're going to send bodies to the ball and put guys in a crowd as we've done. So I didn't think we did that well enough tonight. But we do have solutions for not just Chet, but really anybody that's in the post or around the basket with a strength mismatch or a size mismatch. I mean, we've done that. That's why we've generated so many turnovers. I just didn't think that our activity tonight or physicality was good enough. I thought that was evidenced by the turnovers they had. We were low on that, which isn't the goal, but is usually a barometer of our activity, intensity, that sort of thing. I thought obviously we didn't have our fastball there.
Yeah, and Shai finishes with 12, 5 of 12, I believe. I mean, even in games where team might rotate or double him or just load up generally, like he never finishes with less than 20. Just what you see from where you were sitting that maybe helped limit Shai tonight.
I mean, they had him in a crowd. I thought he got off it a little bit, but they had him in a crowd much of the night, made it very difficult for him to get his cracks. I thought as a team, just our overall pace and sharpness on offense wasn't where it needed to be. And usually when you can do that, generate that, you can get the ball ahead of the defense, and now you start to get some cracks, not only for him but for everybody. And I just thought, our force on offense didn't overcome their physicality, and then our physicality didn't overcome their force, and that's how 25-point loss happens.
Yeah, and then last one for me, just it felt like in the first half, the quality of threes were good. They maybe just didn't fall. As the game goes on, I imagine you're trying to take whatever advantage you can get, especially when they're rotating like that. Just what do you think of the quality of the threes as the game went on?
Well, I thought they did a good job of shutting off the paint. Credit them with their plan. I thought we didn't quite have the pace or the juice to get the cracks that we would normally get, and therefore we ended up having to shoot a lot of jump shots. A lot of them were good looks. I'll be interested to see how that grades out, but obviously we'd like to get to the paint, the line, more than we did tonight, but we weren't quite stubborn enough in terms of the force we played with, the pace we played with.
Do you have to say anything to your team to help them keep their heads up after a performance like that, especially in the second half?
No. I mean, they're usually pretty good about getting back to zero after a game, win or lose, but it's one game. I don't overreact to it very much.
Harrison, sorry.
Wanted to ask you about Josh's night, and it seemed like when it came to just pace and force, he was playing with that kind of from the outset.
Yeah, he got off to a really good start, made some shots, and played well, especially in that first stretch. So that was a bright spot tonight. But obviously, we needed the team to play like that. Much better than we did. Do it collectively, much better than we did, to generate the type of cracks that we want to have.
And obviously, before the game, you were talking about how much you're looking forward to this challenge, just in particular, first time playing Milwaukee, and it's March 24th. Just how valuable is this experience for you guys? Yeah,
this was a great game for us. Obviously not the outcome that we wanted, and we wanted it to be a more competitive game than it was. But you have to learn the lessons through an 82-game season, and you have to learn the lessons in wins and positive moments, and you have to learn the lessons in losses and setbacks. And so this has always been a team that's been great about responding, but we got to stare this one in the face, take the lessons from it, and turn the page. We have another challenge coming up on Tuesday.